This is Broadway Ready, a series of short interviews to get everyone excited about Broadway coming back. I'm Thomas Ellenson, your host. You notice something different about me. I got a new voice. Anyway, my guest today is a two-time Tony winner, TV actor and musician. The one and only Michael Cerveris. It's so great to see you. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm busy with school.
That's great. What year are you now?
I don't really know because I just transferred.
Oh, I see. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Give me the three most exciting things about Broadway's return.
I guess number one would be employment for all of my friends again. I think that's probably the most important thing for a lot of them, and
Yeah.
being able to pay their rent and their bills and things.
Yeah.
Um, I think getting to bring people together again, I think is even though it's scary, I think it's a really exciting thing. And third would be, I think for me, is the excitement of seeing new plays and seeing things I haven't seen before. I know right now there's a lot of, it's sort of the old war horses who are coming back first that people have seen a million times, and that's great too. I think that's really coming. But I think it's especially exciting to look forward to brand new things that we've never seen before.
You created a great band that called Loose Cattle. How did you create the band? What kind of music do your band do?
Well, I created a band with my friend Kimberly Kay. We, at that time when we began the band about, I think 10 or 11 years ago now, she and I were dating, and we were sort of looking for something to do that wasn't arguing the way people do when they're in a relationship. Somehow we never paid attention to all the band biographies where you learn that being in a band is not necessarily easier than being in a relationship. And so we started this band mostly just for fun, really. I mean, both of us had been in bands that were trying to do their own music and trying to, kind of get someplace. And sometimes the effort to do that meant that it was harder to enjoy the things that we enjoyed most about playing music, which is just being in a room with your friends and making music. So we decided to start this band really just for fun and to make it as low stress as possible. That's why the name Loose Cattle seems to fit it so well. And we just got a bunch of friends together, and our biggest goal was just to play living room shows for other friends. And we decided we weren't going to write new material. We were just going to pick covers of country songs that we really liked, and have charts and lyrics and not rehearse, just kind of say, okay, these are the songs we're going to play. Everybody, figure them out on your own, and we'll show up and we'll just sit down and play together. And that's how it began. And pretty quickly we started getting opportunities to do really great shows, like perform at Lincoln Center for the American Songbook Series, on NPR, on the Mountain Stage radio program. And so we thought, well, maybe if we actually rehearsed and put some effort into it, it would be really a good idea. So we did, and over the years, it's grown and changed. We've moved on from just doing the covers. We loved country songs because, like theater songs, they often have lots of characters, strong characters, and strong stories, and we love the story aspect of music. And so that was kind of where we began. Over the years, we've started writing our own material now. Kim and I broke up quite a long time ago, but the band has stayed together. Um, and turns out we were much better at being bandmates than a couple. Um, and and so we've started writing our own songs. And she got married and moved down to New Orleans, and I have a house down here. So the band has there's sort of a New York version that was the original band with Lorenzo Wolf and Eddie Zweibeck and Justin Smith, who's the musical director over at Dear Evan Hansen. And and now we've got sort of our New Orleans band, which is me and Kimberly and a guy named Renee Coman and Doug Garrison, who are from a band called the Iguanas, and our friend Rurik Noonan, who's an amazing fiddle player and singer. So that's kind of the core of the band now. And we're more based out of New Orleans these days. And we just were in the studio a couple days ago and did demoed 6 new songs that we've written, and we've got another 3 or so in pieces, and we're hoping to do a new record. We just put a record out in June or July. We'll be doing our big Christmas shows down in New Orleans this year, and, because we have a Christmas album called Seasonal Affective Disorder. It's a lot of fun, and then hopefully we'll record a new album early next year and get it out sometime in the spring, hopefully for festival seasons and touring and hopefully a better world. And it's kind of Americana music.
Over the past year.
How did I keep busy over the past year? Well, like I said, we were working on this record part of the time. I mean, when the lockdowns happened, my initial instinct, a lot of people went into overdrive and started trying to produce all this, online content. My reaction was kind of the opposite. Mine was to sort of just shut down even more and spend the time trying not to be productive and trying to spend more time thinking and listening and learning, and there was a lot to think about and a lot to learn from at that period. So that was kind of what I did initially. I did some things that I hadn't done so much before, like cooking was one thing. I learned that kitchens are for something more than just heating up delivery out Chinese food, and then when I started feeling like I wanted to be creative again, I did a lot of teaching for when friends would ask me or schools would ask me to talk to their students and stuff, try to do some online things. I did a fair amount of that. Seemed like there were endless benefits and fundraisers and things online, so I tried to do as much of that as I could to try to help as many people as I was able to from a distance. And then personally, when I felt like for a long time I just didn't feel creative, I didn't feel like I didn't know what to express. But when that started to change, I started to reach out to the band, and we recorded a few singles. I would record another thing I did was I learned how to use Pro Tools and iMovie a lot better. And so I would record like a vocal and guitar track, and then I would send it to Doug, our drummer, and he would record a drum track to that and send it back to me. And then I would send those to Renee, our bass player, and he would put a bass track on. And then I would send it to Rurik to put some fiddle and vocals on, and then I would send it to Kim and have her put her finished vocals on, and then I sent it to another friend, a couple different friends of ours, to mix it and master it, and then we sort of put videos together for those songs in the same way. So we did a cover of a John Cale song from the Velvet Underground called "Fear is a Man's Best Friend." We did a cover of David Bowie's "Heroes" for Donnie Kerr's charity organization, and so that was a lot of how I was creative in the early part of the pandemic, and then eventually I got lucky, and some film and television jobs started to happen again.
I want to talk about Mindhunter. I read the book in high school and I found it very fascinating.
Yeah, it is very fascinating. I'm impressed that you read it in high school. It must have been a little disturbing. I mean, it's disturbing.
Can you please tell me about your experience and how did you get into the mindset of your character?
Well, sure. My experience was fantastic. I had been a fan of the show. I watched it initially because I know Jonathan Groff and Anna Torv, who I worked with on Fringe. So I watched it initially, just the first season, and I liked it so much. I watched it a second time not long after I finished the first time through. And then when I had the auditions and things, I watched it again. So I was really excited to be a part of it. I was excited to get to work with Jonathan and Anna again and to meet Holt and work with him. And I was really excited to work with David Fincher, who I've been a big fan of for a long time. And also it was exciting for me because it was shooting in Pittsburgh, and my father lives in Pittsburgh, so I got to see him a lot while I was there shooting it. So, but the stories about David Fincher's sets and the number of takes that he does, they're all true, and he does dozens and dozens and dozens of takes. But for me, coming from the stage, I didn't find that any kind of burden. It just sort of felt like rehearsal, or like doing an 8-show over and over until you stop kind of editing yourself, and I think what he's going for is a more kind of less premeditated kind of performance. So I really, really enjoyed it. It was interesting because I didn't interact with the serial killers so much. I was more the behind the scenes office kind of politics. And it was interesting when I would meet some of the other actors. We would cross paths on the set or in rehearsals and things. I remember meeting Cameron, the guy who plays Ed Kemper, and he's so creepy. I mean, as a person, he could not be nicer and kinder and gentler. And but you meet him, and he's so vivid as Ed Kemper. And when you meet him, you're just terrified of him, even though he's being as nice as he could possibly be. It was really interesting. We had advisors from the FBI who sort of gave us behind the scenes insight in how things would be done. That was really interesting. And getting in the mindset of the character was interesting because, unlike some of the cast, my character wasn't based on a single real person. A lot of people were, but mine was kind of a combination of different people. So it left me a little more freedom to kind of invent who this guy was a little bit more. But I had a lot of guidance in that from the writers and from David Fincher. And like I usually do, I like to do a lot of research. So I reread Mindhunter book, and I read several other books by different people who are involved. It's a difficult world to because it's really dark. But but that's what we love about
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
it. Of course, thank you for asking me. It's such a nice chance just to get to see you and
Yeah.
see your amazing collection of playbill
Yeah.
covers again.
Yeah.
I'm Thomas Ellenson, signing off. Until next time.
Bye.